What's up, Anand?
What's going on, golfer? Big golf weekend.
Big golf weekend, the Scottish Open or something. I don't know. I'm
British
still
Open.
so bad. Yeah, I'm still so bad.
Even
at,
I know this. Come
I
on,
know,
dude. I don't even
dude.
play the sport.
I don't know why. As much as I love golfing, I'm still really like I don't identify with professional golf like culture. Like Scottish, British, fucking Port Rush, I don't know. There's four majors. Look, I don't know. I just know I like when it comes down the final day. Hopefully there's a shootout. Unfortunately, right now there's not too many shootouts because Scottie Scheffler is just dominating.
Yeah, so I woke up fairly early, and it's obviously the British Open, so it was already almost over.
Right.
By the time I turned on the TV, and this guy is just kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah, he is. Like I did the same thing. I when I turned it on, it was already like, I don't know, he was halfway through his round and he was up by like 6, which is a pretty hard margin to close. Yeah, he's dominant.
Yeah, and I texted you this in the chat that my golf friends are like, golf is just like boring watching because he just beats everyone's ass.
Right. I mean, my take in the chat and the way that I feel is that like, I think the thing that really killed it is the live thing, because it took so many like top guys out of contention, like Bryson and Dustin Johnson and Cam Smith and all these people that were also big and like and competing. Now, would Scottie still be dominating? Probably. But I don't know. It just seems like now, because when you put both of those on top of each other, when you take all those guys out of the field, and then you make Scottie so dominant, it just feels like every week it's Scottie dominating, some random guy I've never heard of, like in a distant second trying to make a run, Rory pissed. Like it's just kind of repetitive.
Yeah, and he's 29, so he could do this for another decade.
Yeah, easy.
But
and he's super zen guy. Golf doesn't even matter. I'm a Christian man.
Only bone to pick with him, because if you want to be an ambassador of a sport and you're the best, right? He's clearly the best in the world.
Right.
You have to kind of own it, like LeBron did, Steph did, Kobe did, Michael Jordan did, and you won't. Is this like a Gen Z thing that like, oh, I'm just going to perform, not going to do the media, not going to do the corporate stuff?
Right.
Because all those guys did, and which is why the NBA has a $10 billion media deal.
Right. Well, let me tell you what's actually Gen Z, which is a thing that you probably don't even know is going on. That's just interesting and pretty niche. Is there's a really big YouTube golfer. I think it's Grant. I could be butchering that, but I think it's Grant Horvath or whatever. One of the guys from Good. I'm sure that's kind of hit your radar a little bit. There are these YouTube golfers, and these guys have a clothing line called Good. I think they just got a $45 million investment. I forget from who. Josh, you could Google that. But like, obviously their revenue is legit. I don't know their revenue, but they're making money. And this guy got invited to play on a PGA Tour event, and he chose not to when they told him that he couldn't make content for his YouTube at the event. And so the real thing, not to like, I'll go back to what you said, but not to like step over it. But the real Gen Z thing is, I'm going to choose being a YouTube golfer over joining the PGA Tour, which is pretty wild. Scottie, my opinion is like, look, I think honestly, it doesn't really hit my radar much of like one way or another. It's a matter of opinion. Like, I agree with you on some degree that like, hey, we get it. There's other things that are important in your life, but like while you're at the golf thing, like be in the golf thing. And then there's other people that think it's absolutely amazing because, maybe it hasn't been talked about enough how important family is. And, what he really said wasn't that golf is stupid or golf doesn't bring me joy, but he said that, yes, it brings me an insane amount of joy really quickly, but it wears off really quickly. And the next Monday, it's like, okay, where to next? And the thing that really makes me happy day in and day out is my family and spending time with my kids. And that's what's really important. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion,
I think
but it went
both
crazy
things can
viral.
be true, right? So
Right.
he cares about his family and his newborn. I think it was like last year the kid was born.
Yeah.
Which is great. And be a great dad and a great husband.
Yeah.
But you have a responsibility.
Right.
Like the reason why, like LeBron and Steph are great fathers.
Right.
Look at LeBron. He raised 3 great kids. Steph has 3, maybe 4 kids at this point. Right. But anyways, he's very involved with his kids. And because they did the media stuff and the corporate stuff, Jaylen Brown gets a $330 million contract. Right. Jason Tatum gets a $330 million contract. Like, you got to pay it forward.
Right. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Look, here's my honest take. The only thing I'm having trouble getting riled up about either side. The thing that I do think is amazing is that this motherfucker essentially did a press conference saying like golf doesn't even really make me that happy, and then proceeded to just shit on everybody who's like, like golf does, like, I do want this. This is my life. This is what I'm dedicated to. And he just was like, I don't really care. It's more about my kids. And then just shit on everyone. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, but
I'm with you. I don't disagree with you. I think it's a matter of opinion.
Look, you have to be an ambassador to the sport. Right. When the sport's giving you so much. He's making tens of millions of dollars.
Right, but you would think he's also probably losing like tens of millions of dollars by not doing all the other stuff. Because he doesn't really do like a lot of other stuff at all. He shows up, shits on people, takes his money, which is a lot, has his Nike deal, and goes home and plays with his kids. And like I said, I don't disagree with your point. I also think there's something kind of interesting about like, I don't know, do you owe, like, can you just show up? That doesn't work if you're not absolutely dominant. But
this is a thing in baseball that was a big issue. So Mike Trout, do you know who you even know who he is?
I know the name. I couldn't tell you what position he plays.
Okay, so he plays for the Angels.
Right.
For the last 10 years before Ohtani came on, he was the best player in the history of baseball.
Right.
And he refused to do media. He refused to do anything.
Right.
And imagine if he had done all that, how much more advanced baseball would be, not worrying about ratings, RSN deals. He didn't do it.
But Scottie does media. Like, what media are you talking about? He does all the post interviews and stuff.
The press conference, but like you have to do the corporate events. You have to do all of those things. Right. He said, I don't do it.
Right. Yeah, it's just interesting because I like your point about like it being giving back to the sport and elevating the sport that is elevating you and paying you. I get that.
Because like he's not going to, he might be as good as Tiger. I don't know. It's too early, right? He's 29. So it's potentially possible. Look at what Tiger did for golf.
Right. Right, but Tiger also...
Yeah, he had other issues.
A lot of negative attention. Yeah. I don't know. Look, I think either way, it's a fun topic to like debate on. I don't, like I said, I don't have a strong stance. I just think it's funny to have that clip go viral before the tournament and then just destroy everyone. And the other thing that's really funny is like, that's his third major. All the big news about Rory, however, a few months ago was because he had the Grand Slam, right? And he won all 4 majors. And Scottie, that was his third. So he just has one more, which at this rate, he'll probably win. I think it's next year.
I think he has 4, right? You said?
No, he has 3. Well, he might have 4 like wins, but he hasn't completed all 4.
Oh, got it.
He won the Masters twice, but that doesn't count towards a Grand Slam, right?
Yeah.
So
I also saw Rory hasn't won since 2014.
Yeah, Rory's a weird fella. Rory, I mean, if you want to talk about that stuff, like Rory will straight up skip even the post-game interviews. And like they've been mad at him lately, like all the press for like, hey man, you owe, like you said, but like you owe us, the media, like just your basic like after round thoughts, and he just skips it. But
Yeah, because here just to tie the loop on the whole thing. What was his purse today? 3 million, 2 million, something like that, probably.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Why do you get that money? It's because people pay to watch you.
Right.
So give back.
Right. Yeah, I'm not mad at your take. I'm not, but like I said, I also think it's kind of cool. Like, I also think it's a little bit of like, yo, mainstream media and all that shit is dying. Like, this guy shows up, he does his job, he dominates, he does the interviews at the thing, and he goes home and he does what's important to him, which is his family and his staying low-key.
He said he's going to Memphis next week
for another tournament. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting, I think even bringing it up, because I'm sure like every athlete has this like thought or their version of this thought. And like, it's just funny that when one finally says it, it causes a really good moment for like discussion, you know?
Right.
Because I'm sure they all like talk about it behind the scenes or have different takes.
I know, we all know, we both know plenty of professional athletes. They don't like leaving their families for weeks on end for travel and games and whatnot. We get it.
Right.
But you're also getting paid handsomely. And then you're done at 40 and you never have to work again.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. Josh, did you look up who invested in Good?
Yeah. So the round was led by Crater Sports Capital, which is Benjamin Grubbs and Brian Cabot. And then there was also 45 million. And then there was also participation from Manhattan West Private Equity, Sunflower Bank, and Peyton Manning's Ohama Productions.
And it doesn't say minority stake or majority, does it?
The round was led by Crater Sports Capital.
Right, but it doesn't say minority, does it?
No.
Okay. So anyway, once again, it's a totally different topic, but that's another really interesting thing happening in golf right now is that. Like, here's this kid who, you know, he's not going to make Scottie Scheffler money, but he's definitely going to make everybody else money. And literally them saying, hey, yeah, you're invited to play at this PGA event, but you can't bring cameras. He said, no, I'd rather make YouTube videos. And he's been very outspoken about like, I have chosen YouTube so far because I don't like the schedule and the obligation and the pressure and the media and the whatever. And this lets me do it my own way. It's just interesting that shift.
Is it similar to that like baseball phenomenon, the bananas?
Yeah, but that's like the Harlem Globetrotters a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is like, it's literally like what happened in music, like people being able to go independent, even though that's been a little flawed. I don't know that anyone, like I can't think of who has really repeatedly done that successfully, but the internet opened up the ability to
I guess Nipsey Hussle, right? He did it.
Right, but like he still had like a major distribution, you know, like you're still pretty tied into major labels, you know, like maybe you take the marketing, I don't know. But anyway, a different conversation. I'm just saying the internet opened up a lane to still golf or still do your thing, but be completely outside of mainstream and make a lot of money. I mean, $45 million investment.
It's nuts. Yeah, that's more than 99% of the tour.
Right. And what that must mean for what their revenue is, you know, I have no idea what it is, but it must be high.
Yeah. Interesting.
Anyway, golf. What else? Anything else before we get into the
Epstein?
Oh yeah, what's up with the old?
So Trump basically, because we talked about it last Sunday.
Yeah.
And then since then, Trump has blamed the entire thing on Obama, Biden, Clinton, and saying it's all a hoax.
Meanwhile, a lot of attention has got put on him and Trump's relationship. I feel like that's been ramped up in the last week.
Yeah. So the Wall Street Journal released an article saying how intertwined they were.
Right.
And then he sued Rupert Murdoch, who is a Republican donor, by the way.
Right.
And it just I think the alternative media, all the podcasters are just like throwing their hands up. Like, what's going on here? Right. You guys said it all existed. You said you had all the evidence and the videos and everything.
Right.
And now it's a hoax, a Democratic hoax. Yep. How could it be a Democratic hoax?
Yeah, I think it's
take politics aside.
Yep.
He's blaming it on the Democrats.
Yeah, it's clearly not the case. I mean, look, I think for someone who, I think undeniably, you could say that Trump is an expert at having a read on what's important to his voter, let's say, or to a large portion of America even, and he made them his voter. The point is, really good finger on the pulse. I think this is a catastrophic fumble of finger on the pulse. Like, I don't know how or why he thought he could. Number one, if you are, like, let's just go with this theory that he is implicated, and so he could never let all the info out because he's super in there, then leave it out of your campaign.
Your whole plan.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but if you're not, but there's maybe other stuff that's too big of a deal, then you can't get mad and be like, well, we still talking about Epstein? What are we doing? Like, we still took care about Epstein? Like, come on, dude, and now you're just making it so much worse because now, like, here's another cover up. I mean, look, it's undeniably a cover up, like, meaning even if it's not that interesting or it's not that deep, there are things that that you're not releasing. That's undeniable. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for something. There was evidence in that trial. There was something. So even if you're just not releasing that, it's like, man, it's so stupid.
And now more accusers are coming out. There was like a woman who said, like, yeah, I saw it all with Clinton and Trump.
Yeah.
In the island. There's things that are undeniable. He amassed a large fortune, had a private jet and an island. Yeah. You can't deny that. And no one knows how that happened.
Right.
And then you had all these powerful people on the plane, which is also undeniable because the plane logs show it.
Yep. Well, and it's undeniable that they sex trafficked people.
Yes.
There's a woman in prison for it. So, like, okay, just tell us that.
Why is it a hoax?
I mean, he's just fucking up. I don't know whether this dude is like I said, implicated, and which I don't know why you would play with fire and like keep bringing it up in your campaign if you're implicated. But come on, dude, your hoax thing. I also think, like, look, I guess when you're right about like Russiagate being a hoax and you're right about, these different things, like maybe he's just getting too arrogant that he can just call everything a hoax and his base will just believe it. But you can't do it on this one.
No, you can't, because you're the one that said it was the biggest scandal of all time.
Right. And like, most people that are super into this think that there's like Israel ties and, all this stuff. And like, that's not a Democrat hoax. And I'm not even being controversial. The guy had a building on the island painted like the Israeli flag. I mean, there's just some things that maybe he was just a proud Jewish
former
person.
Prime Minister of Israel stayed at his place in New York. That's also undeniable.
Right. It's just bad. It's so bad. I think that it's literally, in my honest opinion, there was some great momentum, like going into this, like new term. And obviously everyone didn't feel that, but like, I thought that there was a lot of things to be optimistic about, and Elon and all this stuff. And I just think, like, man, you're going to do so much damage.
It feels like it's unraveling pretty quickly. So obviously you got rid of Elon.
Right.
Which was fumbled a lot of people, whether you had a view on him or not, a lot of people were very bullish on Elon being able to clean up the debt in the government. That's gone.
Right.
Epstein, we're never going to know the truth.
Epstein, dude, who is this fucking guy? It's like, how is this guy? This one dude is like so, like, still causing so much trouble.
He had the most important people in the world.
I know.
From
what
America.
Was it? What was it?
We know what it was.
What do you think it was? We don't know what it was. Was it an intelligence operation? Was it what was it?
I think the common assumption at this point is that they basically blackmailed the richest and most powerful Americans in the world and got them to fuck underage girls and had evidence against them.
I think you are totally right. The question is, who is they?
Yeah.
That's the question. And it's I can't help but like also be super curious. Like I try to let it go. There's a lot of stuff that I try to like.
I can't let this one go.
I know there's stuff that I try to not pay attention to because I think that it's a waste of my time. Like meaning like, I don't know, dude. Yeah. Is the government spending like really gnarly? Yeah. But if I sit and think about it all week and watch fucking YouTube videos, am I going to change it? No. And so I have to like just not watch it repeatedly. But the Epstein thing, I just can't stop watching. Like whenever there's a hot clip or whatever on YouTube, I have to watch it.
Yeah, no, I think it's one of the mysteries because we were all adults at the time that this was going on. So,
yeah,
you know, younger people probably don't give a shit about Bill Gates or Clinton or Trump.
Right.
But that was like our entire adulthood, those names.
Right. And I want to say this is why I think it's so interesting to your point. It's like, this is the type of thing that if someone would have told you, hey, did you know that there's an island in the whatever where, and they would have told me that 10 years ago, I would have said, no chance, dude. Like take off the tinfoil hat. That shit's not really going on. And it happened, but we can't like close the loop on like, what was it?
And Seth Meyers had a great bit.
Yeah.
He was basically like, oh, they just took a flight from New York to Palm Beach to Bahamas and just had a layover at this random island and then went on their way.
Right. Not to mention like New York and the Lex Wexner tie-in and the whatever the house in like New Mexico, Leon
Black from Apollo.
You know what's really creepy is when you hear the stories of like people who interacted with him that talk about it openly. So even like the journalist who broke the Vanity Fair story, or another one who's really interesting is Eric Weinstein. The way that they talk about, like the lady from Vanity Fair says that like when she started writing the story, Epstein started threatening her and stuff, and she was kind of scared, but she was still writing the story, and you know whatever, and then like. The editor of Vanity Fair like had like a cat's head show up at his house like randomly. And then one day Epstein was just in the Condé Nast offices in New York, which is like impossible to like, you know, just get past security at that time. Right. But he's just in there like with his feet up on the desk, like what's and like she still doesn't know who would have let him in, or like Eric Weinstein said that like the way he was tied into the Harvard math department was really weird and like knew what everyone was working on and like just weird, just really weird.
You know what I really want to know is where's that reporter from South Florida that broke the news? They kind of got rid of her, right?
I don't know. She might be doing podcasts. I don't know.
Because I don't hear about her.
I just think you can't.
She's the one that broke the news. I feel like she wrote the first comprehensive article from a accepted publication about what was going on.
Think about how different, like how much of an impact that one article made. Like think about how things just play out totally differently if that article, because they had it successfully under wraps.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Well.
We're gonna keep talking about it because I'm not done with it.
We can't stop. So look, I mean, here's where we're at. Is going into a new week where I'm sure there'll be a lot of more stuff. Is Trump, you know, said, "I've ordered Pam Bondi to release everything." I mean, I don't know. We're not going to know the real thing.
That's where the cover up starts, right?
Yeah, just to me, this would have been so easy, and I'm only playing like the sports of it here. I'm not saying morally what I would have done, but like there's so much you can release, I feel like, that would have been like, oh, okay, like at least like you can't do nothing. You can't hand out fake binders that say Epstein files to fucking TikTok influencers and then release nothing. Release a jail video with 1 minute missing.
Yeah, that's the craziest part.
Are you out of your mind without saying anything?
And they used Adobe to edit it?
Yeah, like what are you doing? Okay. Well, There'll be plenty more. A lot more this week, I'm sure. Okay, let's get into some news. So we're all fucked. I mean, none of this really matters because we're essentially like, we're going to be, I would say, sort of like chimpanzees when you visit the zoo, you know, and you're like, oh my God, they're so smart. You know, like they know how to, oh my gosh, is that one using a stick? That's so cool. Like that's essentially where the human race is headed in the AI takeover. So what happened? Google's Deepmind just did like our most complex math in like a half hour or something, or what happened?
Yeah, so Deepmind was the original AI. So Google bought it in 2014 for $400 million. They had 60 PhDs out of UK. And this is what I always kept saying on the pod. Mm-hmm. I was like, Google's not asleep at the wheel. Like everyone thought Microsoft, OpenAI, they're the winners.
Right.
They've been doing this since 2014, which is 11 years now.
Right.
This is why YouTube is so effective at feeding you what you want to see. It's Deepmind.
Yeah.
So they basically solved some of the hardest math problems in the world without any data sets, without any humans. And it's just the beginning. Each company is one-upping every week.
Right.
And it's happening so fast. And I've been telling you guys, this is like really scary in terms of like white collar jobs, not labor jobs. We'll get into that later. That you actually can solve pretty much everything.
Right.
Or you will be able to very soon.
Yeah. Well, I like to try to stay optimistic.
I know you and Dean were the optimists. I was like, dude,
I think we should be optimistic. Look, there's nothing pessimistic yet. Who needs a fucking mathematician? Boring. How many of those even are there? None.
Yeah, but just think about engineering jobs. Those are going to be all gone.
We don't need them. They could be plumbers.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. But the hottest jobs now are plumbers and fucking HVAC.
I mean, I think that's where you need to be.
Remember the learn to code like revolution? It literally like went backwards after 6 years or however long ago that was.
We talked about like, become an engineer. And now it's like, that's probably the worst job.
It seems like there's some funny meme like potential for like, coders or engineers trying to learn how to like, do plumbing.
But then you also have the counter to that, the way Meta is paying these engineers for AI.
Right.
Apparently there's 10 OpenAI engineers that refuse $300 million packages from Meta.
Yeah. What do you think OpenAI is giving them? Like, why?
They must be matching it.
Right.
I mean, if you're any employee, you're not turning down 300 for 10.
No, you got to at least be getting close, right? And selling a hell of a mission. 300 million for a job is insane.
But I actually don't think so. Because if you think about the companies and their market caps.
Right.
What are sports franchises paying players?
Right.
There's a guy in the Mets Juan Soto is making $750 million.
Right.
What is it? A $5 billion company? These are $4 trillion, $2 trillion, $3 trillion companies.
Well, that's fair. Then let me just reframe what I mean by insane is like the same way that if you would have told an NBA athlete 30 years ago what pros were making, that they would think that was insane. Like, I think it's insane the size that we're talking about here.
And these guys in their like 20s, which is crazier.
And you're like an employee. I mean, imagine having 300 million. You're obviously flying around on your jet. And it's just like, what do you do? I'm an engineer at Meta. Like, what?
And you don't have to deal with the fame.
Right. You can be
just
Scottie
go to
Scheffler.
Chipotle. You can be Chipotle.
You're literally the Scottie Scheffler of tech. You don't have to do all
He's not making that much money.
No, I'm just saying this is your option to not have to jump through all the corporate hoops and do the earnings calls and whatever, but you can still make founder money.
Yeah, $300 million founder money.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I mean, look, I'm going to remain optimistic until I'm, living in a tent down on Sunset. But it's really crazy. I think what else is crazy is we don't really know. I mean, everyone can kind of guess, other than we know plumbing will be fine. We don't really know exactly like what's going to get disrupted. Like you can kind of guess that it'll be like coding but like the progress it's making in like medical work is like pretty insane. Your ability to get like a CAT scan or an MRI or blood test results, and like it sounds like already kind of have a much better, quicker reading than what a doctor, because a doctor, you're hoping they spot something like on an MRI. AI picks that up right away. I'll tell you,
100%.
I had a friend, purposely being very cryptic. I had a friend who had a medical scare last week. And
Do I know the friend?
Yeah, very well. I'll tell you after.
Yeah.
And it ended up being fine. So great news. But and so I got a phone call that like, hey, your friend is in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. We don't know what's up. And the way it sounded was like, oh shit, like this could be anything. I mean, I don't know. This could be anything. And I went on ChatGPT and I explained exactly what happened, what any symptoms were, exactly the scenario, the person's age, the whatever. And it gave me 3 options and one of them was right. And it pretty much ruled out like worst case scenario. And it gave me 3 options. It wasn't scary. It wasn't like, if you go to WebMD and you say your finger hurts and it says you're dying and you have leukemia. Yeah. It was very practical to explain to me why. I asked it questions. It was like I called a friend who was a great doctor, and it ended up being one of the 3 options that it told me, and everything was fine. But it took off a lot of the nerves, but that's off of just like, who knows, not an MRI. It's crazy. That's an experience I just had 3 days ago.
That's wild. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's just going to advance so much faster than people think.
Yeah.
In every field.
But what happens?
I think it's a lot more dire than you and D want to believe.
Well,
I mean, we can go to the 58% of graduated kids can't even find a job.
Yeah. So what's that? 58% of students who graduated within the last year are still looking for their first job.
Which is wild. I know when I graduated in 2005, some low paying, some high paying, everyone could get a job.
And I don't feel like this is like, this has been going on.
And this is with a good economy. Like the economy's strong.
Right.
Earnings are through the roof. Nothing's kind of cracked from an earnings perspective. It's just everyone's trying to do more with less. AWS is laying off people. That's clearly AI. Microsoft laid off a bunch of people. That's AI. Because you're getting rid of the knowledge workers. That's what's scary. Right. So the people with the highest intellect are getting displaced.
Plus, I feel like just like the areas where there is a lot of job openings are like very specific, like I'm sure if I don't know, if you were appetizing to one of these AI companies or something, maybe there's more of a shot, although I still don't know that. I don't know, man. It's crazy. And sometimes it like freaks me out when I think about like, what do you do if you're 21 and you just got out of college and now you have debt and you were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and you're just getting smacked. And like, what do you do?
I don't know, to be honest.
Like, that's a pretty devastating, I would imagine. I can't fully relate because it wasn't my path. But I would imagine that if I, did well in high school, was excited about, so picture this, you do well in school, middle school, high school, you start looking at colleges, you get accepted to a cool college that you wanted to go to, you work your ass off, you perform well, you finally get out. Here I am, world. And they're like, nah, we're good. And just that's a huge blow to your, just, you know what I mean? Your momentum, your, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be very fascinating how this next generation operates, because if you're a high-performing student at one of these elite schools, there's already stories about even the Harvard Business School kids, they can't get jobs.
Right.
So
I also feel like scrappiness is more important at a time when entitlement is at an all-time high, which isn't a good combo.
Right. Which is why everyone's living at their homes. They're waiting for that 90 trillion to just get handed down.
I know, dude. I was talking to a person who is probably 23 the other day. It was a girl who said that her all of her friends live at home. That's just what they do. Yeah. It's not weird. It's not even socially unacceptable anymore. That's what everyone does. You're weird.
So if
almost.
They have a boyfriend or girlfriend, they just bring him home to the parents' house?
Yep. So she was telling me all these stories about their friends that have boyfriends and girlfriends that either live at the house with the parents, or they each live with their parents and hang out, and they're trying to get jobs and can't. And it's almost the girls are either dating guys with money, and so they don't live at home, or keep in mind, this is LA bubble talk, or the odd case of someone who's doing quote unquote really well and has their own apartment. But it's just normal socially. It's not, 10 years ago, you'd still live at home at 23. It's oh, you weirdo. But
you're the loser.
Yeah. It's socially acceptable.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I believe it because they don't have jobs. We just saw the stats.
Yeah. And AI,
and their parents are probably entitled. What? If you have a 23-year-old kid, you're probably 55, right? 56.
I would say on average, yeah. So you got a long time to go. You got to poison mom and dad. You got to get that house.
It's the Menendez brothers.
That's what I'm saying. You got to go Menendez because you got way too long.
Yeah, they're going to be
healthcare. You got 30
years.
Yeah, you're fucked. Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. I don't want to catastrophize too much, but it feels like all this. So you add this college issue, then you add the fact that the economy is technically doing really well. So a lot of people are making a lot of money, and there's not this overwhelming sense of need to help. Everyone's super entitled. Everyone's addicted to their social media. AI's taking all your intelligence.
Yeah, the problem is mom and dad have been investing in their 401k for the last 30 years.
Right.
So they've seen the growth of S&P. So they're fine.
Yeah, they're chilling.
It's the kids.
It's pretty wild to me. I guess this is probably just, and this is probably just because I'm getting older and paying attention to it. I'm guessing it was always the case, but the difference between people that participate in the market versus live check to check is a totally different trajectory.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? There's just there's a different reality. It's for one group, yeah, things are great and things are looking up and whatever. And then for the other group, it's just bleak. No, forward mobility.
Check for check, meaning that they just were investing in hustles, or what do you mean?
No, I'm essentially saying someone who, which I think is the majority of people who have a job and they spend their paycheck every week, every month, up until the second of depositing the new check. There's that huge stat that X percent of Americans couldn't afford a $1,500 emergency expense.
Right.
And that's a pretty normal, I'm not hating on those people. I'm saying that's a pretty normal like lifestyle. And I just feel like if your upward mobility comes from like a raise or a promotion or a big, that it's a much harder path than just participating in the market, which is just growing. Like the boomers, things are just up every year.
Right.
It's just a matter of how much. You didn't work harder. You didn't get a promotion. You didn't learn a new skill. You're just riding the wave. Whereas the other people, it's such a like self-reliant, scrappy dogfight every month. You know what I mean? It's just a wild perspective on how money works, especially in America.
I saw a TikTok clip of his last name's Collins. I don't know his first name. Basically saying how buying a house is like the dumbest financial thing you could possibly do.
Yeah.
I was like, finally,
yeah,
someone.
Yeah, I'll give Mikey Taylor credit here. He's been saying that for years. I think he said it on our pod like 3 years ago, and he was kind of early on it, but it's true. But it's so ingrained in like the American psyche. It's just wild. I mean, but I will say also, just like
go ahead. Sorry.
Well, there's also, I know I've said this repetitively, and I apologize, but like when I go to the fucking gym now, dude, all of these guys are talking about stocks and their Robinhoods and shit. And like, oh, do you see like the big stock in the gym is ASTS. And I don't know if you've seen it or not, but
I haven't. Let me Google it.
So have you seen the NAG 7?
No,
there's a thing called
your gym's ahead of me.
Right. There's a thing called the NAG 7, which is like the stocks that the bros won't shut up about. And ASTS is in the NAG 7. And bro, I mean, this thing is just up and up and up and up. And I go in there every weekday and they're just talking about, man, we're up 5% today. Things are looking good.
It's a $20 billion company.
Yes.
ASTS.
Yes. And they've been riding it for months. They're like, oh, did you hear Palantir's earnings? We're blah, blah, blah. It's crazy, dude. It makes me so happy.
Did your trainer listen to my advice last Sunday?
What was your advice? Oh,
Ethereum.
I believe he's just all in. I think his entire net worth is in ASTS.
It's up 32% in 7 days.
That was
since
a call.
I said not financial advice.
That was a good call. How do you get to not have to say not financial advice? Why does Jim Cramer get to tell everyone how to blow their life savings? And you have to be registered or something?
I'm just trying to be safe. I don't know.
Do you get No, I think we do. I think we have to say it. But is there like a registration we can get? Because we're giving pretty good advice out here.
I know. 32% in 7 days.
There's a guy in the studio.
If you're a hedge fund, you 32% in 7 days.
You made your year.
99.9% of all hedge funds.
Yeah.
In an entire year.
Yeah. Cash out and go to Italy. You're done for the year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Try to catch Bezos' wedding.
But that's the other thing that I just want to say is also really optimistic is like it makes me so happy that I go in there and the first thing they say is, well, did you see Palantir today? Or did you see ASTS? Or like the guy, my trainer literally sat in on his first earnings call. You know how you can do it if you're
anyone can listen to any.
And he's like, I was on my first earnings call today. And like, it's just that part of it is so sick. And, if nothing else, I hope we just heard a story. There's a guy in the studio who, made a bunch of money in the last 4 years that he gave us credit for.
Yeah. Sean, who writes our newsletter, said, you guys made me so much money in the last 4 years.
Right. So if there's nothing else you take from this show, it's that, because that side of it is really.
Just don't listen to D. That's it.
Has D made bad financial calls?
I mean, D said Bitcoin was going to 8K, 9K.
That's rough.
Crypto's going to 0.
Well, he was hot on Labubu.
He was. That was a good one. So you get a $60 doll.
Yeah. Your eBay will be popping.
Or $120,000 Bitcoin.
Right. Well, ETH, you did it again. ETH was a great call. And keep an eye on ASTS, dude. I'm telling you, the NAG 7.
I see. I saw it.
Yep.
It's hot.
Yep. Okay. Next up is this debacle with Jerome Powell. So what's going on? I mean, I know Trump, has called him every name under the bus, whatever. It's really funny, but I don't know if it's incredibly productive. Then he did say, like, I'm not planning on firing him anytime soon. And the market sort of got a little mini pop from that. What's going on?
So basically, he tested the market. He teased through whatever leak he used that he's going to fire Powell. And so it started gaining momentum on social. And the market dipped because the market likes stability.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do about inflation or not. They just don't want, like, you're going to fire this Fed chair. Who the hell is going to come in? Who's going to do what?
Right.
And then he quickly, because he loves the markets, even though he said 3 months ago he doesn't like the markets. He's like, I don't care about the stock. Of course he does.
Right.
That's all he cares about.
Right.
And once he saw the market dip, he said, oh, I'm not firing him. I don't know who said that. Like, you said it.
Right.
Now you saw the market dip.
Right.
And he retracted and the market went up because they're like, okay, fine, Powell's back. Even though you know how I feel about Powell, but stability matters.
Right.
And so the market bounced and here we are. It's just classic Trump.
Right.
He just teases things out and sees he's a media personality, right? So he just sees what hits, what doesn't hit. What doesn't hit, he retracts. It's like Epstein, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
That's all it is.
I'm fascinated by the whole thing. I think it's just, man, I just can't, I don't know, big time, not financial advice, but it just seems, especially with everything we just talked about, which is really funny, of like job market and all that stuff being so tough. Like, it just seems like we're set up for the market to like really rip over the next 6 months. Because either way, or a year even, either way, Jay Powell's going to be out.
Yeah, by May. So May's the date.
Right. So don't you feel like the next year is just going to be bananas?
I would assume so.
We're on fire, like, for no real reason. I mean, I just wonder, maybe there's some tariff stuff that like gives us a rough, I guess it would be Q4 or Q1. Like, I'm trying to think of when tariffs would actually hit earnings calls. It'll either be,
I think
Q3
economies will be
earnings.
Localized. So I know in LA, restaurants are definitely affected by ICE. So the handful of places I go to with my kids,
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, business is down, like, pretty big.
Because of what? Why? Because customers are scared?
Yeah, customers aren't leaving in.
Is everyone fucking illegal in this city? It's affecting the restaurants you're going to?
I mean, if you look at the LAUSD, like 70% of the students are Hispanic. So their parents, what percentage are undocumented?
It's funny.
I don't go to fancy restaurants, right? So I'm not talking about like the H-Wood spots. I'm talking about like normal ass restaurants.
Right. I have a work associate flying here next month from Paris to come work for a couple months or a couple weeks. And it's a French woman. She travels a lot, like all over the world, big traveler. And she's like super nervous about flying here because she doesn't know, like, if she's going to get stopped or sent back or like what, And I'm like, man, I don't think that's happening, but who knows? Okay, well, either way, we'll see what happens. But I just think look, it looks like Jay Powell will stick around. We have stability. He's out in May anyway. My guess is like, look, what's he going to do? I mean, in September, when's the next meeting? September?
He has a talk this week, and I think everyone's pricing in 2 cuts.
But is September the next potential cut?
I think so.
Yeah. I just feel like at this point, man, it's too hot. Like the pressure's too high because it's not just Trump saying this now. Like I've heard most economic takes are that it makes sense to lower.
Yeah, just to refinance the debt.
Right.
It makes sense.
But also,
did you listen to the All In?
No, I've been missing it the last couple of weeks.
So there's a guy named Gavin Baker. He's a public markets investor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very center, right? He's not like Chamath, who's just drank the Trump Kool-Aid and just listens to whatever he says.
Yeah.
And he laid out the case of why you need to cut rates.
Mm.
And he's just like,
I'll listen to it.
We're going to save like $1 trillion a year if you cut rates.
Right, but also like, what are you doing, dude? I mean, inflation, we're in the 2%. I mean, what, it went up from 2.5 to 2.7. It's just like, come, let
which is still like in the range, right?
Right. Like, I just don't get, once again, this is where I wasn't paying attention for so long, but like, how do you have essentially zero interest rates for so long? And now you're all stingy? Let us have some fun.
Yeah.
Jerome?
I agree.
Get out of there. Step down. Resign.
If he resigns, it'll be pretty bad.
You freaking wokey. He's a wokey.
No, he's a Trump nominee.
He's a wokey. He's a mole. He got put in there. Trump didn't know what he was doing. He put a wokey in there. He's in freaking Martha's Vineyard, with his other wokies, and he doesn't want to be embarrassed.
Maybe.
Okay. Next up, Nvidia. I mean, Nvidia.
It's worth more than Meta and Google combined.
Wow. That's insane. What's the market cap?
$4 trillion.
Jeez, man. It's funny too, because I remember when it was like at 1 trillion and the take was pretty popular that like, okay, bubble, too big, not like time to back out. This thing is just, how was there such a market that was like uncompete withable? Like, I'm so confused. I got to read that book, that Chip War book. It's like, why is everything
I have
TSMC
that in my room too? Yeah.
I do. I have it sitting right here and I haven't read it. And it appears to be the most important thing in the fucking world at the moment. Because how is Taiwan Semi and Nvidia like just so, like everything relies on them? It's so crazy.
Yeah. And even Sam Altman tweeted how many more GPUs he bought. Obviously, they're Nvidia. He didn't say it.
It's just like at 1 trillion, I never would have thought to put a lot of money in Nvidia, and I didn't. And like here we are at 4. I remember when we were talking about Apple on this pod getting close to 1 trillion and how insane that was. Nvidia did it in like a month.
Yeah, I think, it's kind of back to what we talked about earlier. Like AI is here.
It is here. I just don't get like how
are they so far advanced?
This is what I guess I'm saying is, AI is now everything. It's all that matters in the world of investing, in the world of anyone's talking about AI, right? How did it catch so many people on their heels that, like if you even kind of saw that coming, you would have had a competitive option. But nobody saw the demand for chips.
I think it's actually a very complex problem to solve.
Yeah.
So a lot of companies weren't focused on it.
Right. But that just tells me how much nobody really knew how much the AI like boom.
I mean, technically Elon didn't either until now.
I mean, obviously nobody did.
The smartest guy in the world.
Right. Yeah. It's just crazy to me that so much, I mean, it's just.
But he had an advance, right? So he started in gaming with chips,
right? Then
in crypto, then AI. So he had such a large advance.
Yeah, I don't think he called it.
Yeah.
I think he was just right place, right time, and a really incredible company to be able to handle the scale. But it blows my mind that like I feel like anything else gets competed with very quickly.
But you think about Apple, right? They nailed the phone.
Right.
No one's competed them.
Right. But like, it's still a consumer. I don't know.
They're B2B.
What? Who?
Nvidia. Nvidia's B2B.
I know that's
so
like kind of
Apple's
what I'm
the consumer.
No, I know, but kind of what I'm saying is like my explanation for that is at least Apple, number one, yeah, fully revolutionized it. But I think that the brand of Apple, like the consumer, it's a consumer product, that the brand is sort of this thing that's really hard to compete with. I would say when it comes to the technology of the iPhone, it's already matched or even surpassed by other companies. So in a B2B context, that doesn't matter. They have competition that would have totally worked. It's the brand that keeps Apple so big, whereas Nvidia doesn't have that sort of brand moat. So from a technology,
do you not think so? Do you not think if you're an AI company, you want an Nvidia chip versus some like knockoff Chinese company?
Well, and just until the day you don't, because the quality is better, you're not loyal to the brand. You're only loyal to the brand because the quality of the chip is higher. Whereas a phone, you could have a higher quality phone tomorrow. No one gives a shit because your texts are green.
Yeah.
You know?
That's fair.
It's crazy to me. I'm trying to think of, I'm guessing maybe it happened in like way back in the day, but for them to have such a, I mean, 4 trillion in the amount of time that they did it with no real reasonable competition still. I mean, who's today even threatening them?
No one.
Right. Well, it's impressive. America, you know what I mean? That's why we're great.
If Elon didn't have 13 kids, he probably could have competed them out.
Yeah, or fucking 18 companies, or fucking try to completely revamp our entire political system. Psycho. Okay, last but not least, what time are we at? 58?
In and out.
Okay. All right, this is a big one. In and out. The In and Out CEO, Lindsay.
Who you know, right?
Yep, who I would consider a friend. Has went on a podcast and I think been pretty outspoken about the fact that In and Out is going to move from California to Nashville, right? Nashville?
Yep.
She said that the reason why is because it's hard to do business in California. It's hard to raise a family in California. A lot of the similar complaints, to be honest, that we've heard from other people. I don't disagree with it. But I just think another, Elon moved out of California famously. I think there's a lot of other businesses that have moved. In and Out is kind of the newest one that's being talked about. I think, if you listen to this pod a lot, I'm no fan of the way California has been running. And I just I don't know, man. I also don't know if a lot of people realize, you can kind of joke about these things and you can say, oh, Elon, we don't want you anyway. Or, oh, In and Out, who cares? But it really, really does matter. And for a state that's now running a deficit and should not be, these are taxes, these are jobs, these are important things that make a state work. And if you can't keep people in California, which in my opinion is the best state in the whole country, maybe the world. The best state in the world, the best place to live in the world. You got to be doing a really bad job. What do you think?
Yeah,
I know you're a big Gavin Newsom guy.
I think she's moving and she's getting offices, but I think everything's still going to be located.
I don't think so. Give me a Google. Give me a Goog. Josh.
The article said they're moving the HQ out of California.
Out of here. Fuck this place. They're also super Christian.
This is one of their businesses.
Not anymore, bro. They're out of here.
I will say In and Out is probably the best brand I know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue.
Every time someone comes to LA, it's In and Out. No matter what.
Right. And I want to pile on to what you're saying. Think about the fact that when Supreme does a drop, I would say they're the most famous for it. A lot of people do it. Not a lot of people stick around. I think Supreme still, when they do a drop, which is whatever, once a month or once a quarter, they have a line, down the street famously. And that's pretty impressive. After all these years to have a line once a month, once a quarter, pretty cool. In-N-Out has it every day.
Every day.
All day.
All day. Morning till night. 11 a.m. they open.
Yep.
Till, I don't know when they close, 2 a.m., 1 a.m.
Every location. There's not a hack. There's not a... And also, Supreme is like a few stores in the country, right? Or one in each city that it's in. There's In-N-Outs, in California, they're not hard to find. There's a few of them within close proximity to here. Lines all the time, at all times. It's if you think about it from that perspective, as far as brand, it's nuts.
Yeah, I can't think of another brand that has that.
No. I mean, even Labubu.
Because it's at scale.
Right. But you can also drive to like West Covina. Like I always try to stop at In-N-Out on the way to Coachella or on the way to Palm Springs. Line all the time.
And it's all demographics, meaning you have low-income people, middle-class people, you have rich people.
Yeah. I mean, this is how I eat In-N-Out. There's one on the way home from the gym, or, I'm over in the Studio City area a lot, and there's one over there. And I drive by it every time. I drive by it almost every day. And if there's no line, or like not a line into the street, then I will stop. That's my rule. And I eat it probably twice a month, because every time there's a line down the street.
And if there wasn't, you would eat it more.
Well, I might change my rule, because it kind of is what keeps me from eating it too much. But that's just my rule, so that I don't eat it a lot. And that's how I can gauge it. But it's full every single day down the road, blocking traffic.
No, it's a phenomenon.
And we lost it. Let's just hand it over to the Cowboys.
To Nashville.
Yeah, to the fucking the Cowboys out in Nashville.
Maybe she wanted to leave and she's like, fuck it, I'm moving the company.
I have a feeling, I have no inside information. I have a feeling.
I know it's in the news that she had like a $30 million house in Pasadena.
Yeah, she did. Or does, or whatever.
Maybe she still does. So she's just like, who cares?
Well, I also have a feeling, and once again, I do not know this for a fact.
Can we get some more gift cards?
Yeah, I'm sure. I
took advantage of this.
I have a feeling that part of the motivation for the move is
expansion.
No, like I think like values, like they're very like Christian, and like I think that probably California, like I would imagine that like even. Like she mentioned like raising kids is hard here. And the only thing that I can gather from that is that like maybe the schools, like maybe she doesn't agree with what is being taught in the schools or some of the things like that. And so I would imagine it's probably a lot of that too.
Well, she's gone.
She's out of here, man. We lost In-N-Out. Is there In-N-Out, Josh, is there In-N-Out in Nashville? There's not, right?
No, they're going to expand out there, and then they're still declining putting In-N-Outs on the East Coast.
I fuck with that. I think just for a brand move, it's like, let it be, we're Tupac. Shake Shack can be Biggie, except for they came out here. I like that it's like not in New York.
Cool. Yeah, I'd assume the ingredients sourcing is probably part of it.
Well, the reason they do it is because of
West Coast.
No, the reason they do it is like a distance from distribution centers.
Yeah.
So, and like sort of time, fresh, the freshness, since they don't like deep freeze it or whatever. So I don't know if that's more just a matter of like you could build the distribution centers on the East Coast and you could do it. But also like, who cares? Like they make so much money. They do so well. You could just expand very slowly if you even want to bother at all. And they have a great time. I know they have an incredible time like doing it. Like they have like big events, and it's a very family, the whole family works at the company, and they do these crazy retreats, and who cares?
Good for them.
Fuck the East Coast. But good for Nashville.
Great for Nashville.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
That's it. We got one shout out from Brian. Shout out to Chris Dominic, who completed a triple bypass bike race. That sounded very scary for a second. 3 mountain.
I was like, where are you going with this?
I know. It kind of threw me off. 3 mountain passes in 120 miles of riding in one stage. All right. Shout out to Chris. I don't know exactly what that is, but that sounds fucking crazy. So I'm glad it wasn't heart surgery.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks for listening. Everyone have a great week. We'll see you Wednesday.
Peace.
Peace.